Today we're headed to our pole barn, where we're going to try building a workbench without having a workbench to start with. This old pole barn is about 20 years old. We love having it and working from it, but it's already accumulating stuff without a place. So we need to change that. We need to create some organization in here. We're thinking a workbench. So we got some lumber and screws, and we're gonna just build it and see how it goes. We don't have any sort of elaborate plan for this workbench. We're going to build it to fit the space. Sometimes we do this. We just want a thing and we get the materials and we just start making it to see what comes out. Creating without a plan can be very liberating, especially in the beginning when you have an idea and you don't want to get bogged down by all of the details. You just start making a thing.
So we're going to build a 10-foot workbench along this wall here. We have a lot of tools out here and no place to organize them. They're just a big mess on our tables right now. And with the farm under construction, we don't have that as a shop. So to try to save some money, we're going to build it ourselves out of 2x4 and 4x4 and a variety of wood and stuff like that. Pegboard sections here, each of them is 4 feet wide. So if I could get 10 feet in here, I would have enough space for a toolbox on one end and maybe an air compressor.
We cut 6 4x4 posts. 4 are 36 inches high and 2 are 7 feet high. These will support the workbench top and a shelf above it. We also used simple 2x4s to create a frame for the top of the workbench. We used these cutoffs from the 4x4 posts to be sure that our frame would fit snugly over them. These sawhorses were a huge help. They let us keep the wood at a good working height, and we didn't have to kneel on the ground.
These are going to serve two purposes. They're going to provide support underneath so that the boards over top don't sag, and they will also lock in the position of the legs, one in each corner and then one on either side in the middle.
And it was at this point we realized there was an issue. The pegboards were hung level, but the pole barn's floor was not level. So the workbench now looked crooked.
So one of the things about the location of this bench is that the concrete kind of sags in the middle. It's lower in the middle. So we had to kind of compensate for that. I designed it so that these 4x4s sit into these slots, and you can adjust vertically up or down on all 6 points to level out the bench.
Because the legs were just screwed in, it was really easy to remove the screws, adjust the frame top to match the pegboard, and then re-screw it in place. And that did the trick. The workbench was now level and straight. We celebrated and called it a day. We came back the next day with a good night's rest and a fresh perspective.
So now that we have the top shelf in place, it's time to go on to the bottom shelf. So the bottom frame is going to be very similar to the top, with spaces allowed for the legs to slip through.
So we mostly repeated the same steps to make the bottom shelf, using 4x4s as a guide to make sure that they would fit the actual posts on our workbench. Then we set it on the floor and lifted the whole workbench down into it. We shimmied it up with 2x4s and then screwed it in place.
All right, so it's time to do the top shelf. Figured it would be easy to assemble that here and then attach it to the bench. That way I'm not up on a ladder kind of screwing down. I basically measured the centers of these two boards, and I'm going to lift it into position like this, screw them atop. And then the whole assembly will go right on the top, and then I'll secure it. Now that we're done with the shelf on top, it's time to focus on the tabletop. So for that, I've elected to use 2x8x10. I want a really sturdy tabletop. Maybe not the prettiest, but it's certainly affordable. We've done almost this entire project without any finicky cuts. This will be the first finicky cuts, because a couple of these boards, when they come to the back, we have to make room for these 4x4s. So I have to cut out a notch, essentially, and then slot it in here, and it should be fine.
Then we screwed the top boards into the workbench really well. One of our boards was already warped, so Greg had me stand on top and act as a human clamp while he secured everything in place. Finally, we added a piece of pegboard to the back of the workbench. While there is already pegboard on the wall of the pole barn, adding a new piece on the back of our workbench will mean we can store more items without the framing getting in the way, plus it will help prevent things from rolling off the back edge.
So we're at the end of day 2 on our workbench build. It's really taken shape. It's mostly complete, but we have some adjustments here and there, and we need to decide what we're going to do for the lower level. Originally, we were just going to use normal pine boards, but we've been thinking about maybe doing something else, maybe a little upcycling. So
we got some pallet wood, and we're going to see if we can use or reuse the pallet wood as the bottom shelf, so that we can save a little money and reuse the wood.
The eagle-eyed viewer might have noticed that on the top frame, all of the supports underneath are front to back, but on the bottom level, they run length of the thing, and that is because we're hoping to upcycle pallet wood. So we needed to kind of support against sagging kind of lengthways. So I guess we'll see if that works out. It's just such a waste. Like, all the pallets just kind of get thrown out or whatever.
And it's good. Okay, not all of it's good wood, but some of it's good wood.
A lot of it is not. Yeah, like people say, like, pallets are great wood. I'm like, well, some pallets are great wood. I think it actually matters, like, where you get them.
Well, we got that furniture the other day, and I'm like, look at this beautiful wood on this pallet, and I wanted to use it, but we had already recycled that one. So now we have a functional workbench. And our next step is to add our tools, pegs, and some general organization to it. We've got some fun plans for that, which we will reveal in the future. In the meantime, the farm needs more attention. We have our first sunflowers starting to grow, and the drywall is going in at the studio. So watch for an update on everything else going on at the farm soon. So that's all for today. Thank you for joining us on Maker Farm. This is Jennifer Maker and
Mr. Maker,
reminding you to craft the life you love.
That's our corny like pose that we do, like that shocked face, just like. Oh.